So who do I think is getting an Oscar nomination next year for Best Actor? Hey guys, it's Brian. Welcome to the awards contender. I have covered supporting actor and supporting actress. Today we are talking about Best Actor, which is a race. I think we already kind of know who might win. It seems almost too obvious to me right now, and we'll get into it. But beyond the first two slots, which I do think are locked up for Best Actor at the Oscars, then it gets tricky, it gets exciting, it gets confusing. Like slots 3, 4, and 5 in Best Actor this coming year could go a lot of different ways. And I have my thoughts. I'm not like overly confident about my 5 predictions here. But as of this moment, in November, this is what I'm feeling right now. Let's begin with Timothée Chalamet, Marty Supreme. I don't know, guys. I think like he might just win the whole thing. He might steamroll from Critics' Choice, Golden Globes, all the way to the Oscars. It just seems like he's the only one who can win. Of course, there are some other great contenders we're going to get into here. But Timothée Chalamet, on paper, has a narrative that makes total sense. He is the face of Marty Supreme that's coming out on Christmas Day. It's probably going to do very well at the box office. It's already been doing very well with critics and audiences as it has begun being screened a few places. I'm very excited for it. It's 3 hours long. And it's like, man, if there's anyone like a younger guy who can carry a 3-hour film that's going to be a big awards contender, it's Timothée Chalamet. He has had a run the last few years. He was in second place last time at the Oscars in Best Actor for A Complete Unknown. He won at SAG. I do think he probably would have won that at the Oscars if Adrien Brody wasn't in the category. Not to say that there's going to be an overdue narrative for Timothée Chalamet. That's pretty crazy. He's very young, right? He's like, 30? Somewhere around there? This will only be his 3rd nomination for Marty Supreme. It's not like it's his 4th or 5th or something. I just think because there's not someone else I'm going to talk about in this video today, I feel very confident can win the Oscar for Best Actor. It just seems like because of a variety of reasons, Timothée Chalamet is probably going to win. Outside of a shocker down the road where someone else rises to the top and we're all like, oh, okay, it's not going to be Chalamet. This person's going to take it. Interesting, There might be that thinking. I mean, if Marty Supreme does not get into picture, director, it doesn't do as well on Oscar nominations morning, then Chalamet I do think could be vulnerable. I think if Marty Supreme gets into picture, director, screenplay, let's say one other acting category, a few technical categories, it gets like 6 to 8 nominations on Oscar nominations morning. I think Chalamet wins. That's how I feel right now. He's definitely getting in, right? He's getting the nomination. That would be crazy. If he missed, I'd be like, whoa, anything could happen. I think the nomination is 100% safe. Will he win the Oscar for Best Actor? That's not 100%, but he has the best shot as of this moment. The only person I think can beat him is Leonardo DiCaprio for One Battle After Another, based on the strength of that film. If One Battle After Another wins Best Picture, wins Best Director, wins Best Adapted Screenplay, wins a supporting prize, maybe 2, I mean, we'll see. Just based on the strength of the film, winning a bunch of things on the night, maybe DiCaprio can come along for the ride. He is amazing in that movie. It's one of my favorite performances of his. He already has an Oscar. I think that makes it tricky, but it has been 10 years. It's not like they finally gave him one 2 or 3 years ago. Emma Stone won her 2nd Best Actress Oscar just 7 years after La La Land. It had only been 7 years for her, so why can't we give DiCaprio a second 10 years after The Revenant? If everyone goes all in on that film, on One Battle After Another, I don't think it's impossible. I think what hurts his chances in a big way is that he is very much a part of an ensemble in that. He's not the full lead of that movie. He's one of 3 or 4 major characters in the film. He's not really the focus of the story. It's also kind of a comedic performance, and So, like, as much as I love him in that film, I think he's definitely getting in. This will be his first Oscar nomination since Once Upon a Time in Hollywood 2019. So it's been 6 years. He's done good work in between in Don't Look Up and Killers of the Flower Moon. He was snubbed at the Oscars for both of those films. I can't see them snubbing him for one battle after another. That would just be absolutely insane. If there were like 1,000 incredible contenders this year, I would float that possibility. I do think this time around, DiCaprio is fully safe. I do have him in second place. After those two, you guys, a lot of things can happen. I have my thoughts. I think you put together a bunch of people predicting Best Actor right now in November. You're going to have a few different predictions. Not everyone is going to line up exactly. So, what do I put in slot 3? For a few weeks there, I had Jeremy Allen White for Deliver Me From Nowhere. Sorry, Springsteen, Deliver Me From Nowhere. It just seemed like a safe choice. He's playing Bruce Springsteen in a biopic, a fall release. August, September, that seemed kind of obvious. Like, even if he's not in third place, he's probably in fourth or fifth. He's a beloved actor. He's great on The Bear. This is his first big movie role, and, it just seemed like he'd probably get in, but then it didn't open very well at the box office. Like, it did okay. Reviews were so-so, like medium, nothing extraordinary. And then I saw the movie, guys. I just reviewed it for you. It's not very good. It's kind of a womp womp. It's fine. It's got a couple nice scenes, but I thought it was way too overpacked. They're trying to do too many things in the narrative. It's not a very long movie. It doesn't go anywhere you don't expect, and the acting's fine from Jeremy Allen White and Jeremy Strong, but there was nothing like that really popped out at me. And especially with Jeremy Allen White, he never, for me, fully became Bruce Springsteen. I never thought I was watching the artist on the screen. I just always thought I'm watching Jeremy Allen White play Bruce Springsteen. And that was a problem. In a movie like that, you have to disappear into the person all of us know. That did not happen for me on that. And I just think the film isn't strong enough. I think it's going to fade over the next few weeks. I can't imagine right now in December, January, a ton of people will be going to bat for that movie. I just don't see it. Going beyond the Golden Globes and Critics' Choice, I do think both of them probably get in there. Jeremy Allen White and Jeremy Strong, they probably show up at those first couple big televised ceremonies. But once we get especially to the Oscars and BAFTA, I don't know. There wasn't anything about the performances that really stood out to me in that. I have dropped Jeremy Allen White from my Oscar predictions. I think he's probably in the second 5. It's not impossible. If he showed up in the 5th place slot, I'd be like, okay, it would make sense to me. I don't know. I don't see it right now. I am not predicting Jeremy Allen White in this video. If I had to pick the 3rd place slot right now, guys, I would go with Wagner Moura, The Secret Agents. I just think that movie is gaining in strength with each passing week, and it seems like he's getting into Best Actor Motion Picture Drama at the Globes, and he's probably going to win that. I still don't know for sure which one Timothée Chalamet is going into. Is it going to be drama or comedy musical? If Chalamet goes into drama, then I do think Chalamet probably wins that over Moura. I just think right now, there's typically an international performance that gets in. He won Best Actor at Cannes in May, and that film has been doing very well with critics and audiences, going into the fall festivals, and that film finally opening very soon here. It's probably getting into Best International Feature. It has a shot at Best Picture. I don't think it gets into picture right now, but it's possible. He's a very well-respected actor. He's been around a long time. I enjoyed him in Civil War. He's a very good actor. I saw The Secret Agents. I was kind of lukewarm on it. I liked elements of it. I thought his performance was exceptional. He's great in it. I just found it kind of slow and cumbersome. It's almost 3 hours long. I'm going to give it a second shot. I want to see it on a big screen. So I will see The Secret Agent again. I didn't see it in the most desirable of circumstances. So I want to give it a second try. He's very good in it. That would be an inspired Oscar nomination. I just think it's probably happening. Fernanda Torres, Going into the fall, we weren't sure. I saw I'm Still Here at TIFF last year. Loved it. Loved her in it. But I was like, I don't know. Like how far will that go? And then she won the Golden Globe and she got the Oscar nomination. I'm Still Here was Brazil's entry last time, and The Secret Agent is Brazil's entry this time. I think, I don't think we should underestimate The Secret Agent. I think it's going to do well. It might pop up in one or two categories not everyone is expecting. And I just think if we're going to give that movie one big nomination, on Oscar nominations morning, it's probably Best Actor for Wagner Moura. I would love to see it, and I think he's getting in. Okay, so that's Chalamet, DiCaprio, Moura. Where do we go from there? For many months, I thought George Clooney would probably get into Best Actor again for Jay Kelly. He hasn't gotten an Oscar nomination for acting since The Descendants, 2011. It's been a long time. And I still haven't seen Jay Kelly. It did not play at TIFF, so I haven't had the opportunity to watch it yet. From people I've talked to who have seen it, some are, they think it's okay. Some like it more than others. I haven't heard a ton of raves about Jay Kelly. It doesn't seem clear to me right now. Is it getting into Best Picture? Does Adam Sandler have a shot in Best Supporting Actor? I predicted him before. In some ways, I think Adam Sandler has a better shot in Supporting Actor than George Clooney in Lead Actor. I just think because Lead Actor is a bit more crowded, you have a good 4 or 5 really strong contenders battling it out for slots 4 and 5 for Best Actor. I think George Clooney, he's so famous, he's been around so long, even though he gives a very good performance in the film that I've heard, I've heard he's good, I think he could miss at the end of the day. I have to see Jay Kelly, to really give you my full assessment on his chances based on the trailer I've seen and from people I've talked to. I think he's definitely in the running. If Jay Kelly makes it into Best Picture, then I think George Clooney has a very good shot. He's definitely getting in at the Globes, probably Critics' Choice. And then SAG, I feel like, is on the table, especially because the movie is about an actor. He plays an actor in that. I've heard he has a really good moment toward the end, and so SAG feels like that could happen. I think in a weird way, when it comes to Jay Kelly, it comes down to Best Picture at the Oscars. If it gets in there, even if it's slot 10, then maybe George Clooney shows up also in Best Actor. I don't have him in right now. I think I have George Clooney in slot number 6. I think I have him really close. I flirted with predicting him in this video a few hours ago, but it's hard. I haven't seen the movie yet. I'm not hearing amazing things about Jay Kelly. I still think Sandler could get in. Even if the movie misses Picture and Actor, Sandler could maybe show up in Supporting Actor. That would be kind of cool, actually. But I don't have Clooney in at the moment in my 4th place slot right now, guys. It's it's tricky. I could easily see him missing. I might be overthinking this. This movie might not do as well on Oscar nominations morning that some of us are thinking. But in my 4th place slot for Best Actor at the Oscars, I have Michael B. Jordan in Sinners. I think he's getting in. I think it's time to give Michael B. Jordan an Oscar nomination. He's been doing great work for many, many years. He is the lead of that film. He plays 2 characters in that very well. It makes sense to me that Michael B. Jordan gets his first Oscar nomination for a movie directed by Ryan Coogler, They've participated together on a variety of projects going back to Fruitvale Station 2013, and they've done really good work the last decade plus. This is one of their best movies ever, huge hit at the box office. I feel like Sinners gets one acting nomination. You could point to supporting actor or supporting actress. I think it's Michael B. Jordan. I think especially because he plays 2 brothers in that. He's very good in both parts. He's all over that thing. Because it's an ensemble, it's hard to designate who in that cast gets into supporting actor or supporting actress. In each category there, you have at least 2 or 3 people who could maybe slip in. There's only one lead performance in Sinners, and it's Michael B. Jordan. So I feel like for that reason, in a sense, if we want to give it an acting nomination at the Oscars, Michael B. Jordan probably has the best chance. And especially with it getting into picture, original screenplay, I think those two nominations are pretty well locked. If those two nominations at least happen for the movie, like in the top categories, I think Jordan has a very good chance of getting an Oscar nomination. He could miss. Like, I'm going to say that right now. I think Michael B. Jordan could miss. I will not be shocked. I'll be like, okay, that's a bummer. You know, the movie did come out way back in April. It's a vampire film. They might say, we'll give it picture, we'll give it screenplay. We're not going to give it an acting nomination. That might well happen. I think Wagner Moura has a better shot right now of getting the Oscar nomination for Best Actor than Michael B. Jordan. You know, I thought about maybe putting Jordan in 5th place, not necessarily 4th. But the person I'm thinking about for 5th place, I think will have a tougher time getting the Oscar nomination. So yeah, I would put Michael B. Jordan in 4th place, especially if that movie gets into Best Picture, which I think it's going to. I mean, I don't know if it's going to be in the top 5, maybe it's the second 5 for picture, but I think Sinners is pretty well safe there. And Michael B. Jordan finally, after a decade plus of doing amazing work in so many different kinds of movies, dramas and big like studio spectacle, action, adventure films, like, I think it's time for Michael B. Jordan to get his first Oscar nomination. This is the movie that should make it happen for him. Jesse Plemons' Bugonia. This is a nomination I would love to see. I think he's deserving. I just saw Bugonia a few days ago. I just reviewed it for you. I think both Jesse Plemons and Emma Stone are doing amazing work in that film. And I'm like, man, it's gonna be a bummer, like if they both miss on Oscar nominations morning. They're so good in it. They're giving such confident, bold performances that delight you from the beginning of the movie to the end. And Jesse Plemons, I think he's an actor so many of us take for granted. He's so freaking great. You know, I loved him in Civil War. I loved him in Game Night. Obviously, The Power of the Dog. He got an Oscar nomination for that in Best Supporting Actor. I think it's time Jesse Plemons gets a Best Actor Oscar nomination, and Bugonia would be the movie for that. I think there's some room there, you know. The 5th place slot is totally up for grabs. You know, especially if Michael B. Jordan misses, let's say. You know, a couple of these other contenders I'm about to talk about, they fade over the next few weeks. And Bugonia stays in the conversation. Jesse Plemons shows up at least 2 big places early on. He gets the Golden Globe nomination. I think that's happening. Let's say he gets in a Critics' Choice too. He gets both. Maybe he misses at SAG and or BAFTA, but Bugonia is staying just strong enough where he slips in there, man, in the 5th place slot at the Oscars. I will go nuts, you guys. I love this actor. It's probably his best performance to date in Bugonia. It's such a weird, vulnerable, interesting performance from Jesse Plemons. I think he deserves to be there. Am I predicting him in this video? I am not. I think the big problem there is that the movie might just be too weird, especially in like the last 20 minutes. It's so frickin' bizarre toward the end. You know, it's not really like an Oscar-y film, you know, it's kind of science fiction-y and, you know, about conspiracies and it's very strange, like especially in the 3rd act. So I'm just like, it's not Poor Things. It's not a movie like Poor Things that's like obviously getting into picture and director and acting categories. Bugonia is weird enough. I can see it missing pretty much everywhere. It will not shock me. It shouldn't. I think it should get into Best Picture, Best Adapted Screenplay, Best Actor, and Best Actress. I think it should. You know, like as of this recording, the movie's opening with decent numbers for a Yorgos Lanthimos movie. I feel like there's going to be good word of mouth on Bugonia moving forward. So I think it's possible. I floated like predicting him. You know, like tied in 6th place right now, I would say, is George Clooney and Jesse Plemons. Like they're right on the cusp. I thought about predicting Jesse Plemons, but I thought about it, and I was like, I don't know, Brian. That might be hope dicting a little bit, just based on like the content of the movie, the storyline. I don't know. Like could Jesse Plemons get in? Of course he could. Will he? If I had to put money down on it right now, I would say no. I don't think he's going to make it to the Oscars, but if he does, I will be so excited. Another big contender is Joel Edgerton for Train Dreams. That film, speaking of movies that are gaining in strength and stuff, Train Dreams is coming on really strong right now. It played to a positive, if semi-muted response, I would say, at Sundance last January. I didn't hear about it for many months. I thought it would just kind of come and go. And then it played at TIFF, and it got like a resurgence at TIFF. Like, everybody loved it, giving it 5 stars and stuff. It's dropping on Netflix very soon, and more people will discover it. And Joel Edgerton is excellent in that movie. It's a subtle performance, it's not a big performance. But he's an actor everybody's really enjoyed in a variety of films going back many, many years. He's never received an Oscar nomination, Joel Edgerton. This would be the time to do it. That would be really cool. I don't know, my hesitation there, I think the movie is just too small, too quiet. I mean, maybe it could slip into Best Picture in that 10th place slot. Maybe it gets into cinematography. I do think it shows up somewhere on Oscar nominations morning. I just think the film overall is too subtle to get like a Best Actor nomination for Joel Edgerton. I don't see that right now. I saw his name on one of the big predictions websites in the 5th place slot, like predicting him to get in. And I was like, whoa. It's one thing to talk about his performance as a possibility, but to actually predict him to be in the final 5 at the Oscars? Like, I couldn't do that right now. It's not impossible. If he showed up, I wouldn't be like, what? Like, where did that come from? I don't see it. I think he's probably going to be floating around slot 8 or 9 or something. I think he might show up in Best Actor somewhere along the way. I don't think he gets the Oscar nomination. That would very much surprise me. Dwayne Johnson, the Smashing Machine, on paper many months ago, that Oscar nomination made sense. He's having a physical transformation, something against the grain of what he normally does, working with a Safdie brother, working with Emily Blunt in this true life story, a film premiering at the fall festivals at Venice and TIFF and stuff. I was like, oh yeah, he's probably going to get the Oscar nomination. He will have a narrative. But then we all saw the film, and it's not terrible, but I got nothing out of that movie. I thought it was pretty weak overall, like as a story, like the way it was directed. I can't believe that won Best Director at Venice. Like, I'm just like, what? And then Dwayne Johnson, he's good in it. It's not a bad performance. I just didn't think it was anything special. And then the film completely bombed opening weekend. Nobody cared about that movie. It really came and went fast. When it didn't do well at the box office, I said, okay, I think that movie has already faded. Like right now in early November, like nobody's really talking about it. A few people I know still have him in the top 5 or floating like near 5th place, and all the best to you. I think he still gets the Golden Globe nomination. I think he gets in there because there's 6 slots at the Globes, right? You have 6 slots in Best Actor in Comedy Musical, 6 slots in Best Actor in Drama. You have 12, right? So anyone who gave a performance in 2025 that has had some buzz along the way, that has some support, even though the movie kind of crashed and burned, I think Dwayne Johnson will be one of those people. He's not going to win, but I think he can get the Golden Globe nomination. I think that's probably it for him. You could argue SAG because of his narrative, like maybe he could slip in at SAG. That would not be a shocker. I don't think he gets the Oscar nomination. I don't think there's like any shot of that happening, actually. I just don't think the movie's very good. I think the movie is kind of a stinker. It's very forgettable. It ends really terribly. One of the worst endings of any movie I saw in 2025. So Dwayne Johnson, it's like good try. We'll give you the Golden Globe nomination. Maybe the next film you do that's a little bit outside the box, maybe that will be your first Oscar nomination. Daniel Day-Lewis, Anemone, kind of the same thing. I liked Anemone more than others did. It's not a great movie. It has a lot of flaws in it. It's very slow, and it's not a film I'll probably ever watch again. But I really loved watching Daniel Day-Lewis act his heart out in a movie again. It was just a thrill. We hadn't seen him in 8 years since Phantom Thread, and it's a good role for him. He's got monologues in it. He's very funny at times, very dramatic in others. He gets a lot to do in the movie. So again, Golden Globe nomination. Daniel Day-Lewis is safe in Best Actor in a Motion Picture Drama at the Globes. I think he gets in there. You know, he got in at the Globes for The Boxer. He got in at the Globes for 9. Like, basically, if he shows up in a film, like, he gets the Globe nomination. After that, I don't think we see him. I think the Globes is it. The movie just isn't good enough. Like, most people, like, didn't care for it. That also bombed. It came and went. Not to say that Anemone was going to be like, you know, $100 million earner at the box office. That was never going to happen. The only way I think that Daniel Day-Lewis could get an Oscar nomination for Anemone in Best Actor is if there was like a very, very limited field in that category. If there was nobody, right? There were like 2 performances that everyone really got behind, and then it's like, I don't know, like who else do we put in? We have to fill the category. Then Day-Lewis could maybe get that 5th place slot just based on his name, based on his monologues in the movie. Like, he slips in there, he becomes Anemone's 1 Oscar nomination. Like, that's the only way I could see it happening. But because we do have some wonderful contenders this year in Best Actor, he's just, I mean, I don't even know if I'd put him in the second 5. Like, you know, maybe in slot 9 or 10, like maybe like kind of far away there. I wouldn't have him close. I wouldn't have him in like slot 6 or 7. And like, well, maybe if a couple of these guys falls through the cracks, like maybe he can get in, like in a shocker on Oscar nominations morning. Daniel Day-Lewis is always beloved. He's still the GOAT. I hope we don't have to wait another 8 years for his next movie performance. Like, Anemone was just kind of like a fluke, and he came back like to work with his son on a movie, and then we're never going to see him again. I hope that's not the case. Whatever Daniel Day-Lewis does next, especially if it's with a big director, he's probably going to get an Oscar nomination for that. But it's not going to be for Anemone. Lee Byung-hun, no other choice. If there's one performance this year that I really want to see get into Best Actor at the Oscars, it's that one. Lee Byung-hun completely blew my mind in that movie a few weeks ago at TIFF. I mean, I was like, this is one of the best performances of the year. He's funny, he's dramatic, he is the entire show, really. He is all over that film for 2+ hours, and he makes it so special. It's just a wildly erratic and fun and memorable and deeply emotional performance. I loved everything about him in that. He deserves to get into Best Actor at the Oscars. And it's like, why aren't most of us thinking it can happen? I think because the movie is very funny. It's kind of a comedy at times. That always hurts someone's chances in a way. If the movie's kind of funny, if enough Academy members look at it as a comedy, they might say, next, you know. It's an international performance. Those can be tricky to get in, like especially 2. Can we have room for both Wagner Moura and Lee Byung-hun? I do think we should. I think that would be great. And I'm just like, I'm hoping he gets into a couple big places along the way. Even if he misses at the Oscars, which I think will probably happen. I don't feel very confident right now that Lee Byung-hun gets the Oscar nomination for Best Actor, even though he's deserving. I don't know. I get the sense that the movie like has a small chance of Best Picture, like 9th or 10th place slots. I think it has a very good chance of getting into Best Adapted Screenplay for Park Chan-wook, who's never received an Oscar nomination, which is crazy. I think because adapted screenplay is kind of a limited field, there's not too many big contenders in adapted. I think No Other Choice is probably getting in there. If it gets into picture too, then I think Lee Byung-hun like should be on the list of like big contenders. Like, it's possible. I just think sadly he's probably going to miss. I mean, I want to predict him here. You know, maybe if I go on the awards contender, I tell all of you, he's getting in, you know, he's getting that 5th place slot. Lee Byung-hun in No Other Choice. He is coming for the Oscar nomination in Best Actor, and maybe I will just will it into existence. Like, I don't think I'm quite that powerful. I don't think that's going to happen. Lee Byung-hun, if he shows up on Oscar nominations morning in Best Actor, I am going to freak out, you guys. I'm going to jump out of this chair. You will not see my face for a moment because I will be celebrating If it happens, I will be thrilled. I don't think it's going to. And Russell Crowe, Nuremberg. Are we sleeping on that film and that performance by Russell Crowe, a previous Oscar winner? He hasn't received a nomination in many years, right? His last Oscar nomination was A Beautiful Mind, 2001. He's done some good work the last few years, some not so good work. I've seen a couple of his performances lately, and I'm like, ugh. Whenever he plays like an exorcist, I'm just like, yeah, I'm good. But I'm hearing good things about Nuremberg. It played at TIFF. In a weird way, I was seeing a lot of films that week. I saw, 21 movies in just a few days. I got the sense that I could skip Nuremberg. I wasn't hearing too much about it before I left for Toronto. I thought I could skip that one. But, some people I trust watched it there. They thought it was very good. Maybe not like the movie of the year, but that it had a lot of great factors to it, and that one of the best things in it is the Russell Crowe performance. There was talk of him maybe going supporting actor, but it's been announced he is going lead, and same thing with Rami Malek. He's also going lead. I think if someone from that movie could show up somewhere this award season in acting, it's probably Russell Crowe, because he does have a long history with awards and the Oscars and stuff. If Nuremberg just came out of nowhere, became this huge contender, Russell Crowe getting into Best Actor at the Oscars for that movie, if it came on strong at just the right time, I wouldn't say it's outside the realm of possibility. I would feel crazy predicting that here today. I'm not going to do that. But I did want to mention him, And then a few more names. I'm going to touch on these guys very briefly. You have Tona Tiu in Kiss of the Spider-Woman. I thought he was excellent in that. It is a terrific performance. If that film had done better at the box office, they should have just brought that one out on streaming, guys. It should have just gone to streaming, because it bombed so freaking hard. I'm just like, nothing's going to happen with it. I just don't think anything is going to happen with Kiss of the Spider-Woman. I thought Tona Tiu in that film was really great. You have Benicio del Toro in The Phoenician Scheme. I really adored his performance in that. Nobody from a Wes Anderson movie has ever gotten an Oscar nomination for acting. Can you believe that? There has not been a single acting nomination at the Oscars. Not for Ralph Fiennes, not for Gene Hackman, and not for Benicio del Toro. That film has just kind of faded, sadly. But Del Toro, I think as the weeks go on, I'm starting to feel like he might have a good shot of getting into Best Supporting Actor for One Battle After Another. Brendan Fraser, Rental Family, I was predicting him in August. I thought he was coming for another Oscar nomination. And then I saw the film. It's perfectly lovely. He's got some nice moments in it. It's just very forgettable, guys. It's very forgettable. It's a movie you enjoy while you watch it, and then you never think about it again. The next day, I was on to other movies at TIFF, and I wasn't really thinking about Rental Family. There's nothing he does in his performance that stands out he's got to get an Oscar nomination. I think he gets in at the Globes. I think Brendan Fraser gets the Globe nomination, and then I think that's it. I think that's the only place he shows up. Will Arnett, is this thing on? There was talk about that film maybe being more of an Oscar player, in the weeks leading up to its premiere at the New York Film Festival. Word on that film is solid. It's positive, but not overly enthusiastic. I haven't heard anyone really floating it to get into picture and the acting categories. I think it's going to be one of those fall releases that people like, but it's not really an Oscar contender. Will Arnett might get in at the Globes, right? Everybody I'm talking about in this video might get a Best Actor nomination at the Globes, but outside of that, I don't think Will Arnett gets in anywhere else. Oscar Isaac, Frankenstein, I thought maybe he could get in many, many months ago, and then I saw the film at TIFF. I'm still at a 7 out of 10 on that movie. I do feel like it's gaining in strength, but maybe picture, maybe Best Supporting Actor for Jacob Elordi. A lot of people want that to happen. And so as the days pass, I'm maybe it will be Jacob Elordi who gets the 5th place slot at the Oscars in Best Supporting Actor. That would be awesome. He is the only viable contender from that movie in acting at the Oscars. Nobody else from that film is getting into Best Actor, Best Supporting Actress. I thought Oscar Isaac was slightly miscast in that. He's okay. It wasn't a very good performance. I don't think he gets in anywhere in lead actor. I don't think he gets in even at the Globes, you guys. I think that's a performance I'm talking about in this video that will not show up at the Golden Globes. And Hugh Jackman's song sung blue. Could that be a thing? You know, I was hearing things about Kate Hudson being like a contender for Best Actress. The movie premiered at the AFI Film Festival at the very end of October, just a few days ago. And word is that the movie's fine, it's okay. The performances are pretty good. Kate Hudson, I think, gives the best performance in the movie based on everything I've read about it. I think if anything happens for that film this award season, it's going to be Kate Hudson in lead actress. I don't think Hugh Jackman comes along for the ride in lead actor. I just think there's too many contenders I've been talking about all throughout this video. I don't think Hugh Jackman is going to be nominated anywhere outside of, ready for it? Ready? Outside of the Golden Globes. Like maybe, comedy musical. They got to fill up that category. So there you go. So that's about it, right? Like I've talked about pretty much everybody. There might be a couple I forgot, that I didn't mention in this video. But those are the main, wait a second. I'm forgetting someone. I am forgetting the person I am going to be predicting in this video for that 5th place slot. I know some of you might have panicked. You were like, wow, Brian, really? You're going to forget about him? I, of course, did not. I think the person I have not mentioned yet in this video, who has a very good shot of getting into Best Actor, it's going to be tough. It's not going to be an easy path, but I think it is very well possible. Ethan Hawke for Blue Moon. He blew me away in that film. I watched it at home through a digital screener. It's Richard Linklater directing. I had heard good things about Blue Moon all throughout the year, and I was delighted by the film, by the entire ensemble cast. But oh my freaking God, Ethan Hawke is bringing it in this movie. Playing a real-life figure, it's a physical transformation. He has long monologues. He's in almost every moment of the movie for about an hour and 40 minutes. And it's one of his best performances. He has been around since the 80s. He's been doing such good work year after year in film, in television, as an actor, as a director. He's so creative. He's such an interesting guy. He has 2 Oscar nominations for acting, Training Day and Boyhood, and he has 2 Oscar nominations for writing, Before Sunset and Before Midnight. I think it's time for his 5th Oscar nomination, his 3rd in acting. I think it's going to be Blue Moon. Now, it is going to be an uphill climb for him because, like maybe screenplay, maybe. I do think he might well be the only big viable contender to get an Oscar nomination from that movie. And these days, guys, it's really tricky to get a lone acting nomination for a film. It still happens here and there. 2022, right? In Best Actress, we had To Leslie, we had Blondes. It happens still, even in the 2020s. But what scares me about Ethan Hawke's chances, it's if Jay Kelly gets into Best Picture and Best Supporting Actor for Adam Sandler, wouldn't George Clooney have a better shot of getting the 5th place slots over Ethan Hawke, who might be the only contender from his movie? That's where I have a little bit of pause. I just think based on the performance, if you watch Blue Moon, it's holy shit. It's such a great performance from him. It's unlike anything he's ever done before. I mean, they make him look short in the movie. They give him this horrible comb over, and the way he talks is a little bit different. It's just it's a full transformation from Ethan Hawke that I think if enough people watch, they're not going to be able to ignore. And Sony Pictures Classics has Blue Moon. And they do a good job every year of getting their actors in. And so for that reason, the Sony Pictures Classics of it all, I think they're going to work hard. They're going to mount a campaign for Ethan Hawke. And I do think if enough people, enough awards voters watch that movie, I think Ethan Hawke is going to get in at the Oscars. He might miss 1 or 2 major places. I don't think he could get in everywhere, He might miss at SAG or BAFTA or both or something. He might miss somewhere big along the way. But if he can get in at the Globes, which I think he's going to, if he can get in at Critics' Choice, if he can show up a few places, maybe win a Critics' Prize here and there, in December, as long as he's getting out there, he wants the Oscar nomination, he's campaigning for it, I think it's going to happen. As the weeks go by, as certain people fall off, right? Like Dwayne Johnson and Daniel Day-Lewis and Jeremy Allen White. As long as some of these key figures fall off and allow room for a lovely surprise, I think Ethan Hawke has a very good shot. And I am predicting him in this video. So yeah, a lot of things can happen in Best Actor at the 98th Academy Awards. I might not have this exactly right. Here in November, it's still early, guys. It's still very early. But I don't know, after having talked my way through all of these contenders, I think this might be the final 5. My early Oscar predictions for Best Actor are Timothée Chalamet, Marty Supreme, Leonardo DiCaprio, One Battle After Another, Wagner Moura, The Secret Agent, Michael B. Jordan, Sinners, and Ethan Hawke, Blue Moon. Thanks so much for watching and subscribing, and let me know in the comments below who are your early Oscar predictions for Best Actor, and stay tuned for my next predictions video all about Best Actress. I'll see you next time at the Awards Contender.